welcome to spring. And I don't want to scare you, but spring for chronic illness, for everyone dealing with mast cell activation syndrome, especially histamine intolerance, all this kind of stuff is hell on earth. But don't take it wrong. It's a natural process from the body. If you check, Chinese medicine and how the body works, basically, I mean, I'm in Europe, I'm in Spain, and from May, I mean, no, sorry, from March until more or less the end of May, the body goes through a process. You can see dandelions, and it's for a reason. We need those herbs. We need, the liver is gonna start clearing. It's like the spring cleanse of the year, which is good because afterwards, just before summer, usually is when the breakthroughs happen, and that's when you improve so much that it stays with you the rest of the year. And that's crazy, right? But that's the way it happens, and it's amazing. But then, we have to take in mind that this is actually happening and help our bodies clear it as fast as we can. And this is going to happen to anyone. I mean, I'm not talking about the traditional, let's call it rhinitis and spring allergies, which is the same issue, but I'm talking about people that come from, I don't know, Lyme, post COVID, whatever, especially women, which I'm going to go into now. Um, it's going to get crazy for a bit. So hold on, hold tight, and yeah, and just take the process like a spring cleanse from your wardrobe that's gonna bring you to a better place later on. But it's tough, it's really tough. So, estrogen and histamine, that's like, I talk a lot about this, but really, I believe this is the reason why so many women are stuck in this loop of hell, which I have a video about. But I mean, it deserves many others because I mean, it's just horrific how we get trapped in this loop, especially women over 35, where progesterone starts dropping, and we get ourselves trapped in this. What the fuck is going on with my body? And then anxiety rises, depression, insomnia, gut issues, and it's not mental. It's basically histamine and estrogen playing up. Apart from the fact that on spring there's going to be a ton more histamine in the environment, which is going to sum up to our bodies. So, yeah. So, estrogen and histamine, your body feels its best when your hormones are in balance with each other. Too much or too little can throw everything off. As a result, I, talk about the importance of hormonal balance, especially with estrogen and progesterone. But today I want to dive into the less commonly talked about but significant connection between estrogen and histamine. You might have heard of histamine in connection with allergies. When your nose starts running in spring, an overproduction of histamine is to blame, which is why antihistamines are medications people take to combat seasonal allergies. They don't fix it, but But for some people, histamine production goes haywire or just isn't broken down, causing even more symptoms. So, what's the connection with estrogen? Turns out higher than normal estrogen levels, known as estrogen dominance, can make histamine levels jump even higher or even interfere with enzymes that help remove it from the body. So, I'll explain the connection between estrogen and histamine, how it can make you feel, as what steps you can take for your body to go back into balance. No? So, what is estrogen? Estrogen belongs to a group of hormones responsible for so many essential functions in your body. It's primarily produced in your ovaries. Fat, bone, and other tissues can also produce estrogen. Beyond sexual health and reproduction, estrogen is also protective for your bones, heart, and brain. Again, we're talking about balance. We're not demonizing estrogen at all. We're just talking about what's actually happening nowadays with a world that is filled with estrogen, estrogen particles that things that mimic it is just everywhere. So no wonder, no. So when estrogen levels are out of balance, it can lead to non so fun symptoms. People with low estrogen can experience symptoms that mimic perimenopause or menopause, like irregular periods, hot flashes, insomnia, and mood swings. Higher than normal estrogen levels, also called estrogen dominance, can cause weight gain, heavy or prolonged periods, uterine fibroids, depression. The issue isn't just the estrogen is high or low, it also impacts the balance of other hormones, which only adds to the problem. So, what is histamine? It's produced by several different immune cells, mast cells, and it's made throughout your body, but mainly found in your skin, lungs, GI tract. When your body senses the trigger, whether it's pollen, food, any type of allergen, mast cells release histamine, Once released, histamine promotes inflammation, including increased blood flow to the area, causing typical allergy symptoms like coughing, itchy eyes, or burning eyes, or the feeling that you have like little man pressing your eyeballs from the back, which I hate so much. Just like estrogen, histamine exists in a delicate balance in the body. Histamine is broken down by two special enzymes, DAO and N-methyltransferase, so you don't end up with too much histamine in the body. If histamine isn't properly broken down, the excess builds up and causes symptoms. This condition is known as histamine intolerance. For people with histamine intolerance, certain foods that contain histamine or add to histamine release make symptoms even worse, you know. So interestingly, mast cells are also found in the uterus. So research suggests that histamine might even play a role in ovulation, pregnancy, once again displaying how hormones all work together and are intimately tied to the immune system for optimal health. So how does estrogen affect histamine? Estrogen increases histamine in the body and links to the immune system via receptors on our immune cells. So mast cells not only release histamine, but they also have receptors for estrogen. Ah. So when estrogen binds to these receptors, more histamine is released from your mast cells in your uterus. So the more estrogen you have in your body, I think estrogen dominance, the more histamine is released. This is the loop from hell, by the way. While estrogen can trigger histamine release, can also increase estrogen production. Estrogen might also slow down the AO production, the enzyme that breaks down histamine in your gut. So, in other words, more estrogen means you release more histamine that you can break down. And since histamine turns up estrogen production, it can quickly become the worst nightmare. So, I'm sorry to say, this is the reason why so many women are trapped in this hell loop, inflammation, whatever you want to call it. Even further adding to the problem, progesterone, which tends to be low or off balance for people with estrogen dominance, inhibits histamine. So, low progesterone means even less help slowing down excess histamine. It's such a tricky situation, especially if you have, nervous system and brain inflammation with all these hormonal nightmares. I mean, absolutely horrible. I don't have words for it, but you might also notice that histamine intolerance symptoms are worse at different points of your cycle. Even when hormones are balanced, estrogen is at its highest point right before ovulation. So symptoms can increase there, PMS, PMDD, it's just crazy. And we all know about, the common symptoms, no? As with hormone imbalances, symptoms can vary from one person to the other, but there are some, the most common signs that are related to this histamine estrogen connection, which would be, heavy PMDD, PMS, especially which are those symptoms that are not well talked about, which are basically the neuro ones. What they call the mental ones that are not, are basically histamine is a neurotransmitter. So, it can accelerate the brain like 1,000 miles per hour. And then, you have this feeling that you're overwhelmed, exhausted, but your brain is like too fast. Then you can stop it and you have too many thoughts in your mind and you can stop that hell, and headaches and fatigue and brain fog and skin rash and hives and menstrual cramps and food intolerances and gut issues like bloating, pain, diarrhea, boy, you name it, And when estrogen is higher or unchecked during the luteal phase, as we see in instances of low progesterone, women might experience symptoms that get grouped into a term called the period flu, same as perimenopause symptoms and so on. Support for histamine intolerance with estrogen dominance lifestyle. There's the is the only way out. You have to actually help your lifestyle, and it's gonna be really hard because it's the SIBO is a huge cause of this, for instance. But then, how comes we have SIBO? Estrogen makes your gallbladder and your bile really, really, really thick. Therefore, you're probably gonna get with estrogen dominance and all this mess, gallstones or sludge or whatever. So bile clears the gut from excess bacteria. So guess what happens if you don't have enough bile? You end up with SIBO, and then if you have SIBO, you end up with estrogen dominance again. And we need to break these loops. It's the only way out. Unless we understand all these processes at once, we get away from environmental toxins and all of it at once. It's just not possible to stop this. So yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I still do have this problem, even though I know all of this. I'm yet to finally put an end to it fully because of, I have a fibroid that is this big. I'm not gonna remove it, obviously. um it's already getting smaller and smaller, but with the brutal inflammation I had, no wonder it grew, no, and not anymore, thanks God, and is reducing. But endometriosis and all this mess, is going to come together with all these symptoms too, because everything goes hand in hand. But if you come from Lyme or neuro Lyme and all these brutal neuroinflammations, and obviously it's going to take a while longer. So limit high histamine foods. This one is a bit trial and error because each person's ability to tolerate histamine containing foods is different, but that can help as well. So some foods are necessarily high in, but can stimulate release of histamine, no? So cocoa, citrus, tomatoes, all this. B6 is helpful for some people too. Obviously, stop drinking alcohol if you do. Practice stress reduction. All these things are obvious. Nervous system work. All you can do. In my case, microdosing psilocybin is really, really, really helpful because the HPA and the HPG axis, so your hypothalamus, they work together as well in this complex system. I believe women are like the detectors that there's something brutally wrong with the planet we're living in at the moment. And unless that people start listening to us and we change the way we live and the way we interact with the world, and we respect the cycles, especially for women, we're fucked. So, they should kind of listen. We are the ones that bring life to the planet, and many of us can't because we're stuck in these hellish conditions. And yeah, enough is enough, right? Um, Support gut health is obvious, what I explained about C just before. Vitamin C is a great help for the AO enzyme and will help with histamine clearance. Vitamin C can help regulate progesterone levels as well, and progesterone counteracts the excess estrogen. I use bioidentical progesterone, again, not progestins, bioidentical progesterone, because I was so inflamed. I was in such a fire that while I was fixing everything else, I needed it. But there are ways to actually get there without. But if you do need it, it's a great help. It's been amazing for me, especially the one I use, which is honest progesterone cream, which was great. And I still do because of there were far too many things to fix at once. And meanwhile, this was causing trouble. So nettle tea, especially the compound quercetin, which is also in onions, and it stabilizes mast cells. But yeah, sipping into nettle tea throughout the day, in addition to previously mentioned strategies, help. So yeah, this would be the connection. It's not often discussed enough, and I believe things like the short things and all this stuff, what they called the flying bug that we had a few years ago, all this stuff are basically a combination of radiation and toxins that make your immune system explode. And then guess what? All this system gets active, and then we have so much crap going on that everything's like, yeah, a kinder egg that suddenly explodes and flares. And but in women, if we do not take in mind this, and for everyone, if we do not take in mind that spring is gonna make all this stuff like go nuts. That's why people are so, depressed during spring. It's very common. Like, and you're like, why? The weather's getting nice. Why am I bloody crying everywhere? Why? That's why. And yeah, but we can fix it. And then with support, proper, place, and get out of these whole horrible situations and maintain it. And yeah, but be mindful. It's liber time. Then the lions are out for a reason, and after this will come the breakthrough. If you've been working to heal, if you've been working with all this, you get your good side in the other side, where around May, June. But be patient with this March, May situation, because usually, yeah, things get worse. So yeah, beware of spring. Thanks for watching. See you next time.